Hey YouTube, this is Tom the Purple One. Yesterday I did a video and I asked people, how are you doing financially? Are you doing better? Are you getting worse? And the majority of people are definitely getting worse. One guy said he's doing all right. I think it was an electrician. And he stressed the importance of becoming in the trades. Plumbers, electricians, anything like that. In my area, there's a shortage of good people that are willing to work. And I've talked to so many people in the business world that hire people. They say they can't even find people. You know, they're just trying to find a warm body. And they can't even find a warm body, someone that wants to work. Especially if you're outside, if you're in the heat, or if you're up north and you're in the cold a lot, no one wants to do that job. Even the UPS driver told me that it's very difficult to find workers. He said when he started, those jobs as a driver was prized jobs. You might have to work part-time or in a warehouse for 5 years. I think he said it took him 5 years to get his own route and a truck. So they could be going on strike. And I talked to him and he said basically there's been a lot of times that their increase rates of pay were like 1.5%, not tied to inflation. And he says he's been personally seen going backwards. And that's true for a lot of people. Their wages are not keeping up with inflation. So I appreciate everyone that commented. I feel so bad. People are struggling, real struggling, and this is not even what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to get worse, worse, and worse. So hang in there, please. I read an article, I think it was the Daily Mail. It was about the UK being ready. They are talking a lot of trash. They're trash talking. And if you look at their military, they can't back it up. This article was really good to read. I'll put a link to it. And then I went out and just started researching. And it's the same thing with our military. The biggest thing in the military you were taught is you never embarrass your unit, you never embarrass your leadership, and you don't embarrass yourself. So talking about it is sort of embarrassing. I will just tell you right now, the military is not what it's supposed to be. It's to the point where I am considering what happens if we go into a World War III scenario, or not nuclear, and we get invaded. China invades us, Russia invades us, somebody invades us. I'm not counting on that military. I'm counting on a bunch of good old boys in my neighborhood. I'm counting on you. I'm counting on your AR-15 or your 30-06 bolt action. I'm actually counting on it. I'm thinking, what could we do? So in my head, I'm making plans. These are more of a mental plan. Because I'm a prepper, I don't have to worry about food and water and all this other stuff. But what happens if there's a foreign invasion on our soil? I'm not going to roll over and let them do it. But there's a lot of things you can do. Remember, there was a bunch of goat farmers in Afghanistan that did pretty good. And there's a whole side of warfare that if you study it, it's very hard to defeat a person that does not want to be defeated. And I will tell you what, down here in the South, in South Carolina, there's a lot of people that don't want to be defeated. So my plans are mental plans right now. There's really nothing I can do. The biggest thing is being connected with like-minded individuals. And that goes back to being connected to people that can do something. You might say, I want to do that. I can do that. But if you're physically not able to do it, be quiet. Go sit back on the couch. Or get up and start exercising. Start losing weight. Now, some people can't because they're physically handicapped. I understand that. But if your only handicap is being lazy, get up. You don't have to start running a marathon tomorrow. Walk 500 yards on your street tonight. Walk 500 yards tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and then realize, hey, you know what? I can go 1,000 yards. That's what it's going to take. It's really small steps. Don't think you're going to become super stud, jacked all up in a week. No. Your mind has to say, hey, I know I need to do that. And you need to do it because our youth of this country is in the worst shape possible. I could tell you horror stories about the military that people share with me. It's insane. So, I am preparing for an invasion of this country and what I'm going to do. Now, granted, I'm not going to run out to California. No, it's not that. It's mentally, what can I do here locally? And then you got to say, what if California is invaded? Do I leave South Carolina and go to California, or do I go to the Mississippi? Is that where a defensible line can be made for the remaining military and the remaining citizens? I don't have a solution for that or an answer, but we as Americans use these big island or big oceans on both sides of us as like, oh, we're untouchable. No, when we have treated the world so bad for so many years, there's a lot of people that want payback. They want to reap our wealth, and we do have wealth in this country. It might not trickle down to the average Joe on the street right now because inflation's killing, but there's real wealth in this country. If you compare our resources with Russia, it's a joke. Just look at it. See what the resources Russia has, and their population's like, I don't know, a third of what we have. So yeah, we do have resources, but we don't have the infrastructure right now developed to use those properly. But let me get back to my point. It looks like UK has only about 40 working tanks. I think they have over 100. I think that's what the article said, or 200. I think it had 200, but they're not all ready to go. They're broken. That's typical in the military. I think they only have like 12 frigates and destroyers. They have like 19, and then they push that number down to 17. So their military is gutted. They only have like 147,000 men in there, and they're trash talking like crazy, and they have nothing to back it up. Also, China has recently said they're going to stop rare earth metals or restrict them from export. That's devastating to our military. Also, our Stinger, we can't get components to continue making Stingers. We haven't made a Stinger in a long time. And they also, I think Raytheon had to bring in 70-year-old engineers and 70-year-old workers that have already retired because they need help looking at blueprints and figuring things out. So, also, cluster bombs I talked about, that looks like it's a go for Ukraine, and I truly believe they're sending them there because there's like 1 million in our inventory and we're running out of everything else. So, if this war continues, we are going to be decimated. I don't know if you can tell, but it's raining. But let me cut this short. UK military is a joke. Our military is good, but is nowhere near where it needs to be when we have politicians running their mouth, be it Lindsey Graham, being Biden, being Pence. So keep prepping. Thanks for watching.